President Trump impeached for abuse of power and obstruction of Congress.
He becomes just the third U.S. president to be impeached. Eyewitness News reporter Josh Haskell is following the breaking developments from the newsroom. Josh?
That's right, Colleen. The House of Representatives has voted to impeach President Trump, passing both articles, abuse of power and obstructing Congress.
Impeachment has unleashed total chaos inside Congress, and what's happening right now is absolutely wild. Trump didn't get removed. Trump is still president, but the impeachment effort has exploded into complete institutional breakdown. There's open warfare inside the House, there's floor disruptions, there's walkouts, there's visible splits between members who want Trump gone and leaders who are terrified of pulling the trigger. Representative Al Green just forced an impeachment vote, and 140 members voted to advance it. 140 members said, yes, we want to move forward with impeachment proceedings. That's basically a third of the House. That's a substantial block. And that's way up from 79 members who voted for impeachment earlier in the year. Support doubled. Support grew massively. And now Congress is in complete chaos. Democratic leadership tried to kill impeachment. Democratic leaders voted to table the resolution. Democratic leaders joined with Republicans to stop impeachment. And that caused Democratic members to turn on each other. Members who wanted impeachment are furious at leadership. They're publicly fighting, they're split, and it gets worse. During Trump's speech to Congress, Democrats walked out. By the end of the speech, roughly a third of Democratic seats were empty, and Al Green was physically removed from the chamber for heckling Trump. This is chaos. Pure chaos. But real quick, before we get into this, let's be honest, you can't really trust mainstream media anymore. That's why we built John Brown Show, to bring you real stories, real context, and no corporate spin. If you want to stay ahead of the headlines, be part of the community that actually cares about the truth. And seriously, check right now if you're actually subscribed to this channel, because you might think you are, but aren't. Your subscription actually matters here. All right, let's get into what actually happened. December 2025. Representative Al Green brought new impeachment articles against Trump, and these weren't minor accusations. Green accused Trump of abusing presidential power by calling for the execution of Democratic lawmakers. Let me repeat that. Green said Trump posted that 6 Democrats who urged troops to refuse illegal orders were engaged in seditious behavior punishable by death. Green said Trump was calling for the death of Democratic members of Congress. Green said Trump was inciting violence against fellow lawmakers, and there was a second article. The second article accused Trump of threatening federal judges. Green said Trump is threatening judges who ruled against Trump. Green said Trump is normalizing political violence. Green said Trump is promoting violence and hatred. Green said if Trump is left in office, he will continue to promote violence, engender hate, undermine democracy, and dissolve our republic. So Green's articles were serious. Green's articles were about Trump calling for executions. Green's articles were about Trump threatening violence. Green's articles were about Trump being a danger to democracy. And Green forced a vote. Green used parliamentary procedure to force a vote on these articles. Green basically said, we're going to have this vote whether leadership wants it or not. And on December 11th, 2025, the House voted. Now let me bring the receipts on what happened with that vote, because this is where the chaos really started. The vote was 237 to 140 to table the resolution. That means 237 members voted to kill impeachment, but 140 members voted against tabling. 140 members said, yes, we want to advance impeachment. 140 members voted to move forward with impeachment proceedings. And here's what's stunning about that number. That's up from 79 members who voted for impeachment in June. That's almost double. That's massive growth. That's support for impeachment exploding. But what's also significant is what happened with Democratic leadership. Democratic leaders voted to table the resolution. Democratic leaders joined with Republicans to kill impeachment. Democratic leaders basically said, no, we don't want this. Democratic leaders tried to prevent impeachment from moving forward. And that created chaos. That created conflict inside the Democratic caucus. Democratic members who voted for impeachment were angry at leadership. Democratic members were upset that their leaders were voting against impeachment. Democratic members felt betrayed by leadership. Democratic members were publicly fighting with each other. And then there were the 47 Democrats who voted present instead of taking a clear side. 47 Democrats basically abstained. 47 Democrats refused to either support or oppose impeachment. 47 Democrats were hedging. 47 Democrats didn't want to take responsibility for the vote. 47 Democrats were trying to have it both ways. That's chaos. That's leadership collapsing. That's members refusing to take clear stands. Now let me show you what happened earlier in the year during Trump's speech to Congress, because this is where you can see the institutional breakdown happening in real time. March 2025. Trump gave a joint address to Congress. Trump gave a speech to both houses, and it was a disaster. It was a complete breakdown. Al Green was removed from the chamber for heckling Trump. Green shouted that Trump had no mandate to slash Medicaid. Green was trying to disrupt Trump's speech, and Capitol Police physically removed Green. Capitol Police dragged Green out of the chamber, but Green wasn't the only one protesting. Democrats were holding signs. No King signs. Democrats were holding them up during Trump's speech. Democrats were making statements. Democrats were refusing to accept Trump as a legitimate president. Democrats were basically saying Trump is acting like a monarch. And Democrats were walking out. Democrats were staging a coordinated walkout. Democrats were leaving the chamber while Trump was speaking. Democrats were literally turning their backs on Trump. Democrats were scrolling on their phones. Democrats were refusing to pay attention. Democrats were protesting Trump's speech, and the walkout was massive. By the end of Trump's speech, roughly a third of the Democratic seats were empty. 1/3 of Democrats had left the chamber. 1/3 of Democrats had walked out on the president. Think about what that means. During what's supposed to be this dignified, formal occasion where the president addresses Congress, dozens of lawmakers just abandon the room. That's unprecedented. That's chaos. That's complete breakdown of normal congressional protocol, and it shows the level of anger and rejection of Trump that exists in Congress. Democrats are so upset about Trump that they're walking out of his speeches. Democrats are so frustrated that they're refusing basic congressional respect. Democrats are basically saying, we cannot accept this president. Trump is so wrong, so dangerous, so unacceptable that we won't even sit and listen. Now let me explain what Green is promising going forward, because this is where it gets really interesting. Green is promising more impeachment efforts. Green is promising a countdown to impeachment. Green is basically saying, we're going to keep filing impeachment articles. We're going to keep forcing votes. We're going to keep pushing. We're not going to stop. And Green is not alone. Representative Sri Thanedar has floated his own 7-article impeachment package. Thanedar is preparing his own impeachment articles. Thanedar is getting ready to file them. Other members are talking about impeachment. Impeachment is becoming a recurring theme in Congress. Impeachment is becoming an ongoing campaign. Impeachment is not a one-time vote anymore. Impeachment is becoming constant pressure on Trump. And what's crazy is that Democratic leadership is split. Democratic leaders are trying to prevent impeachment, but rank-and-file Democrats want impeachment. Rank-and-file Democrats are voting for impeachment. Rank-and-file Democrats are supporting impeachment. So you've got Democratic leadership fighting against Democratic members, you've got internal party warfare, you've got chaos. And Republican leadership is also scared. Republican leaders are warning that if Democrats take the House in 2026, another Trump impeachment is likely. Republican leaders are basically saying, we understand that impeachment will happen if the political situation changes. Republican leaders are basically acknowledging that impeachment is a real threat. Now let me break down what Green's impeachment articles actually accuse Trump of, because the specifics matter. The first article said Trump called for the execution of Democratic lawmakers. Green cited specific posts where Trump said that Democrats who urged troops to refuse unlawful orders were engaged in seditious behavior punishable by death. Think about that for a second. Trump allegedly called Democratic members traitors. Trump allegedly said they should be executed for treason. Trump allegedly called for the death of fellow lawmakers. That's serious. That's the kind of conduct that impeachment is supposed to address. That's abuse of power. That's inciting violence against members of Congress. The second article accused Trump of threatening federal judges. Green said Trump has made threats against judges who ruled against Trump. Green said Trump has suggested that judges should face consequences. Green said Trump is attacking judicial independence. Green said Trump is normalizing political violence against judges. And Green's language was serious. Green said Trump will continue to promote violence, engender invidious hate, undermine our democracy, and dissolve our republic if left in office. Green was basically saying Trump is a threat to democracy. Green was basically saying Trump will continue to be a threat if not removed. So Green's articles were substantive. Green's articles were detailed. Green's articles were about serious conduct. Green's articles were about Trump being dangerous. And Green forced a vote. Green used parliamentary procedure. Green basically said, we're going to vote on this whether leadership likes it or not. Green forced the House to have this debate and this vote. Now here's what makes the 140 votes for impeachment so significant. That's up from 79 members who voted for impeachment in June. That's almost double. That's massive growth. That's support for impeachment growing. That's more and more members becoming willing to vote for impeachment. And it shows that impeachment has gone from being a fringe idea to being a real political force. 140 members is a third of the House. That's significant. That's real support, and the trajectory is upward. More members supporting impeachment now than 6 months ago. If that trend continues, if support keeps growing, impeachment could eventually succeed. Now let me show you what happened with the Democratic leadership, because this is where the internal chaos becomes visible. Democratic leaders voted to table the resolution. Democratic leaders joined with Republicans to kill impeachment. Democratic leaders basically said, no, we don't want this. And that created fury among Democratic members who wanted impeachment. Because think about what that means. You have rank-and-file Democrats who believe Trump should be removed, who believe Trump called for executions, who believe Trump threatened judges, who believe Trump is a danger to democracy, and their own leadership is voting to kill impeachment. Their own leaders are siding with Republicans to stop the effort. That feels like betrayal. That feels like leadership is protecting Trump instead of holding him accountable. And that's creating conflict inside the Democratic caucus. Members are angry at leadership. Members are publicly fighting. Members are split. And then there were the 47 Democrats who voted present. 47 Democrats who basically abstained, who refused to take a clear position, who refused to vote yes or no on impeachment. And that includes some Democratic leaders. Some Democratic leadership voted present. Some Democratic leaders refused to vote yes or no on impeachment. Some Democratic leaders were avoiding taking a position. Think about what that signals. It signals fear. It signals that Democratic leaders are scared of impeachment, scared of the political consequences, scared of what happens if they vote yes, scared of what happens if they vote no. So they're trying to have it both ways, trying to avoid responsibility, trying to hedge, and that's chaos. That's leadership that doesn't know what to do. That's leadership that's paralyzed. Now let me explain what the March speech walkout reveals about the state of Congress, because this wasn't just a few progressives making a statement. This was coordinated. This was organized. Democrats planned to protest Trump's speech. They coordinated the walkout. They prepared the signs. They decided in advance they were going to leave, and they executed the plan. Al Green heckled Trump and got removed. Democrats held up no king signs. Democrats turned their backs on Trump. Democrats scrolled on their phones. And Democrats walked out in waves. By the end, roughly a third of Democratic seats were empty. That's not normal congressional behavior. That's protest. That's resistance. That's Democrats saying we will not legitimize this president. We will not sit quietly and listen. We will not play our part in the pageantry. We reject Trump. And the fact that it was coordinated, that it was organized, that roughly a third of Democrats participated shows this isn't just individual members acting out. This is a caucus-wide sentiment. This is widespread anger at Trump. This is Democrats collectively deciding they cannot accept Trump's presidency. Now here's what Green is promising going forward and why it matters. Green is promising rolling impeachment efforts. Green is saying he's going to keep filing articles, keep forcing votes, keep creating pressure. And if Green follows through, if he files new articles every few months, if he forces new votes repeatedly, that creates constant chaos. That creates constant disruption. That makes it hard for Congress to function normally. That keeps impeachment in the news. That keeps pressure on Trump constant. And if other members join Green, if Thanedar files his 7-article package, if multiple members are filing articles simultaneously, the chaos multiplies. You could have multiple impeachment efforts happening at once, multiple votes being forced, multiple disruptions, constant impeachment pressure. That would be unprecedented. That would create institutional chaos that Congress has never seen before. Now let me show you what Republican leaders are saying, because their warnings are significant. Republican leaders are warning that if Democrats take the House in 2026, another Trump impeachment is likely. Think about what that admission means. Republican leaders are basically saying they understand that impeachment will happen if the political situation changes. They're basically acknowledging that impeachment is a serious threat. They're basically saying that if Democrats get power, they will use it to impeach Trump. That's Republican leaders admitting that impeachment is on the table, that it's a real possibility, that it could happen. And that creates political pressure now. Because if Republicans believe impeachment will happen, if they lose the House, they have massive incentive to hold the House in 2026. They have to prevent Democrats from taking control. Because if Democrats take control, Trump gets impeached. That's the calculation Republican leaders are making. Now let's talk about what this means for Trump personally, because Trump is watching all of this unfold. Trump is seeing 140 members vote for impeachment. Trump is seeing Democrats walk out of his speeches. Trump is seeing members get removed from the chamber. Trump is seeing chaos in Congress. And Trump probably hates it, because Trump can't control this. Trump can't prevent members from voting for impeachment. Trump can't stop Green from filing articles. Trump can't force Democrats to sit through his speeches. Trump doesn't have absolute power over the legislative branch. Congress can vote on impeachment whether Trump likes it or not. And that's a source of real frustration for Trump. Trump is accustomed to controlling situations. Trump is accustomed to having power over people. But Trump can't control Congress. Trump can't force members to vote a certain way. Trump can't prevent impeachment votes. And that's probably driving Trump crazy. Trump is probably watching this and panicking, realizing that he's more vulnerable than he thought, realizing that impeachment is a real threat, realizing that his political situation is more precarious than it appeared. Now here's what makes the growing support for impeachment so dangerous for Trump. Support doubled from June to December, 79 members to 140 members. That's massive growth in just 6 months. If that trajectory continues, if support keeps growing at that rate, you could have 200 plus members supporting impeachment by mid-2026. You could have majority support. You could have enough votes to actually impeach Trump. And if Democrats take the House in 2026, they will have majority support, they will have the votes, and impeachment will happen. That's the trajectory we're on. That's where this is headed. Support is growing, momentum is building, and eventually the political cost of not impeaching Trump could become too high. Eventually, members could be forced to choose, defend Trump or impeach Trump. And more members are choosing impeachment. Now let me explain what the internal Democratic chaos reveals about the state of the party. You have Democratic leadership trying to prevent impeachment. You have rank-and-file Democrats demanding impeachment. You have 47 Democrats voting present and refusing to take a stand. That's a party that's deeply divided on how to respond to Trump. Some Democrats think they should focus on legislative alternatives to impeachment. Some Democrats think impeachment is a distraction. Some Democrats think impeachment won't work because Republicans control the Senate. Some Democrats think impeachment is a waste of time. But other Democrats think impeachment is necessary. Other Democrats think Trump has crossed the line. Other Democrats think Trump calling for executions of Democratic lawmakers is grounds for removal. Other Democrats think Trump is a threat to democracy. Other Democrats think impeachment must happen. And the fact that 140 members are willing to vote for impeachment shows that the second group is substantial. The fact that 140 members are willing to go on record for impeachment shows that there's real support for removing Trump. And that split is creating chaos inside the Democratic Party. Members are fighting with leadership. Leadership is fighting with members. Some leaders are voting present to avoid taking sides. The party is fracturing over impeachment. Now here's what this means for the 2026 midterms. Because impeachment has become a central political issue, Republicans are scared that if they lose the House, Democrats will impeach Trump. Republicans are worried that impeachment is on the table. Republicans are thinking about how to prevent Democrats from taking the House. And for Democrats, impeachment is dividing the party. Democrats are debating impeachment. Democrats are voting on impeachment. Democrats are fighting about impeachment. Impeachment is creating chaos inside the Democratic caucus. So impeachment is now a major political factor. Impeachment is now something that affects electoral strategy. Impeachment is now something that affects how parties approach the 2026 midterms. Republicans will campaign on preventing impeachment. Democrats will campaign on pursuing impeachment. And voters will decide. Make sure you're subscribed to John Brown Show, because we're going to keep tracking this impeachment chaos. We're going to keep documenting every vote, every article filed, every walkout, every moment of institutional breakdown, because what's happening in Congress right now is unprecedented. 140 members voted for impeachment. Support doubled in 6 months. Democratic leadership is split. Members walked out of Trump's speech. Al Green was removed from the chamber. Democrats are filing rolling impeachment articles. And the chaos is only going to get worse. More articles will be filed, more votes will be forced, more members will walk out, more pressure will build, and eventually, impeachment could succeed. Eventually, Trump could be removed from office. Eventually, this chaos could lead to Trump's removal. Share this video with everyone you know, because people need to understand what's happening in Congress. Impeachment has unleashed total chaos. Members are fighting with leadership. Leadership is fighting with members. Democrats are walking out of presidential speeches. 140 members are voting for impeachment. Support is growing. The trajectory is toward more impeachment, not less. And Trump is watching it all unfold, watching his political situation deteriorate, watching the pressure build, watching Congress fall apart over the question of whether he should be removed. This is institutional breakdown. This is Congress in chaos. This is Trump's presidency under siege from within the legislative branch. And here's the thing about impeachment. It's not just a symbolic gesture. Impeachment is a real constitutional mechanism. Impeachment can lead to removal from office. Impeachment can remove a president from power. Impeachment is serious. And the fact that 140 members are already willing to vote for it shows that the groundwork is being laid. The fact that members are filing articles shows they're taking this seriously. The fact that Green is promising rolling efforts shows there's a determined group who want Trump removed. And if Democrats take the House in 2026, they will have the votes. They will have the power, and they will use it. Impeachment will happen, Trump will face removal, and the chaos we're seeing now is just the beginning. The trajectory is clear, support is growing, momentum is building, the political situation is deteriorating for Trump. And eventually the pressure could become overwhelming. Eventually Trump could face a Congress that's ready to remove him. Eventually this chaos could produce Trump's downfall. That's where we're headed. That's the meltdown that's unfolding. Trump watching as impeachment support grows, as members walk out, as leadership splits, as chaos consumes Congress. This is Trump's presidency in crisis. This is institutional breakdown over whether Trump should remain in office. This is the chaos that impeachment has unleashed. And it's only going to get worse from here. The votes will keep coming. The articles will keep being filed. The walkouts will keep happening. The pressure will keep building. Until eventually something breaks, until eventually impeachment succeeds, until eventually Trump is removed. That's the trajectory, that's the chaos, that's the meltdown that's happening right now. Stay tuned.